Hey everyone, welcome to this special edition of Flywheel where we have Sam and me on video, and we're going to discuss FrxBTC and everything we know about it. Sam, you've been leading and sheep herding this cause, so I'll let you take the floor. Can you give like a little bit of a summary of FrxBTC and why you think it's important?
Okay, yeah. So 2 days ago, is it drum roll? Okay, never mind. Let's see if this works. Do you hear drum roll? There we go. Okay, yeah. So
I don't hear drum roll.
there was a drum roll. Like 3 days ago, there was a. I asked a simple question in the Frax chat. I was like, "When FrxBTC?" And Sam came back in like 30 seconds. Which means he had already been thinking about it. Like, it's one of those things where like, Sam's already been thinking about it and already knows like what he'd need to do in the back of his head. Came back, gave like a really nice explanation of what could be done for FrxBTC. But his caveat was mainly just that we're not going to make any money, or we may not make any money off this. There's two problems with Frax Bitcoin or Bitcoin on Ethereum, right? And they are that the issuer of the stablecoin, in this case, or wrapped Frax BTC or whatever we're going to call it, you don't make that much money. So you make money from the mints and you make money from the redeems. The going rate is about like 25 basis points and about 10 basis points to go back. So if you look at the RenBTC stuff, they probably made, I don't know, $1 million on the mints. So they had like 20,000 RenBTC at one point, right? And if we just assume that FrxBTC is going to get to that size as well too, maybe we get to 25,000 FrxBTC. It's only going to add, $1 million, maybe $2 million max in revenue. So it's not really like a big revenue driver there. And once it's created, the people that benefit are the ones that hold its spot. I mean, you have to want to hold FrxBTC on ETH and probably deposit it into Curve. And so there'd have to be gauges. We'd be paying for the gauges. And really the question becomes like, are we going to be able to monetize this in a way, or is there going to be significant demand from the community in a way to create this FrxBTC pair? And I'm mixed. I think it could go either way. I'd like to know more about what's happening next year with the product roadmap, maybe first, and some of the other stuff that Frax is trying to build out. But it does sound like a very cool idea.
It does sound cool, and I agree with you. I'm mixed on this. In one way, BTC is still the top dog. It's still, the number one asset, both in market cap and both in mind share of people. When people think of crypto, they think of Bitcoin outside of the Ethereum and DeFi communities. And sometimes we forget that in this bubble. But like the thing is with this, like you said, it's like, is it going to be profitable? Is it worth putting in the time and effort to make this thing work and be secure? And also having BTC on ETH is just like one of those middle ground things where like, there's no side that really likes you. There's like BTC people that are like, oh, it's on ETH. It's not real BTC. Fuck that. And then there's like ETH and DeFi people that just don't really care about BTC and are just like, whatever. It's a pet rock. So it's like this, it's in this weird middle ground where not a lot of people populate it yet. Like maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there is the Badger community and there are like people that still recognize, the importance of BTC. But I don't know if it's worth the effort right now. I feel like it's worth something in the future, maybe something down the line in the roadmap. And it would make what I would really like to see, what I really think should be a priority, or like this could happen at the same time as FrxBTC, is Frax on Bitcoin, is like Frax on Stacks or Frax on Lightning Network, because there's been proposals about that before on Lightning Network. Like that, like if Frax could be like the stable coin of BTC, then that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. What do you think?
So, well, look, I think the argument, if you're going to make it for the FrxBTC, is that people want to have significant loan demands through FrxLend. I think that's the primary argument, is that the addition of a FrxBTC pair would somehow drive a lot more creation of Frax through FrxBTC, through FrxLend, where Frax would create the on-chain Bitcoin, FrxBTC on Ethereum, and then you could use that inside of FrxLend to then borrow and create new Frax through the loan process. And I think that's cool. I mean, the argument that really kind of makes it there is that the Bitcoin that would exist on the Bitcoin network would be pretty safe and secure because of the FraxFerry mechanism in case there was any sort of hack or anything else that happened to someone. Like, there would be enough time for the team to intervene and protect the Bitcoin that's on the Bitcoin network. God forbid anything happened inside of ETH. So that 24-hour time lock plus the team or the DAO controlling the multi-sig that is holding all this Bitcoin, I think that's really strong argument. And you kind of have to ask yourself the question, like, long term, let's say WBTC really becomes big inside of FrxLend. Is that really that safe and secure for Frax in the long term? Could that wrap Bitcoin ever be frozen? Are there things that could happen where Frax is blacklisted by WBTC or somehow? Like, the addition of a FrxBTC pair would just make the overall resiliency of the network or of the protocol just that much greater.
Okay, that is a fair point. The WBTC concerns and kind of Frax's whole philosophy, especially that's developed this year, is to own all different parts of the stack, whether it's through like these primitives or whatnot. And now, like with FrxBTC, it would be much more in control of its BTC destiny. And so if there's already if WBTC kind of precludes like the existence of FrxBTC, like there is some interest in it already if there's a BTC derivative on like being used for like lending and stuff. So makes sense.
Yeah. And I think we'll see this in the RFQ period. There's actually an update on the forum today where one of the TBTC people came. I think that's the Trusted BTC. They came and made a post.
Yeah, TBTC.
Yeah. So they made a post and essentially said, like, we've already built this in TBTC1, or sorry, it's Kiet network. Yeah. So I think that we'll be reaching out to them and seeing how their stuff works, because maybe we can just have a wrapped Bitcoin asset through them, right? Like a branded, because really we're just looking for like a branded Bitcoin asset where maybe we can be on the multi-sig, right? Maybe FrxDAO as a whole can be on that Kiet network multi-sig. And maybe that's a good enough option, right? Instead of the team having to take away dev time. I mean, the only thing that I worry about is that like if FrxBTC will probably take like a quarter to create, I'm guessing. And so that's 3 months of dev time taken away from one of 8 core team developers, where, they could be building something else, right? So should we be, working to integrate with eigenlayer like you just posted today, or all the stuff that is planned for next year?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know.
I think organic yield should be the priority for 2023 and expand. I think one of the most successful products is FrxETH. So it makes sense to, keep expanding out and updating and evolving that product. And eigenlayer is the way to do that. I want to do a long form post like you did with FrxBTC that gives like lists of pros and cons. Got to do like some more research and whatnot. But I think a lot of people don't know about eigenlayer, and they might have seen it on the timeline. And if they have seen it, they might have not looked into it because it's like, oh, it's just like another thing. I was like that, but then I got a proper explanation. I'm like, oh, this makes complete sense. Outsourcing trust. We can explain that on another episode. But
we'll have to have him on
anyways,
the podcast.
I invited Shiram on the podcast. I've been talking to him on Twitter, so we'll have him on, probably January next year. Lots of good stuff coming on the pod next year. Very
Lots of good
excited.
stuff coming on the pod.
But yeah,
so like just to recap on the FrxBTC, it's something that's definitely doable. It would be a trustless transfer, so the security would be pretty good, right? So trustless transfer from Bitcoin to ETH, because Bitcoin has these opcodes where you can transmit information from the opcodes onto Ethereum. But going back from Ethereum to Bitcoin, you now have a different situation where you need a multi-sig that's run by the DAO, and maybe has another, core team member on there, just to make sure, kind of like how the Frax Ferry works right now, in making sure that the transfers are going well. But if we can create it on ETH, it allows us to create a bunch of products. So Fraxlin, we talked about, obviously there would be all the Curve products as well too. So you could make like a WBTC, FrxBTC Curve pair. You could make a tri-crypto pair with Frax Base Pool, FrxBTC, FrxETH, which would have like the longest convex name ever. They'd be like Stake CVX Frax. They'd probably just call it like Frax tri-crypto or something.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, like, the idea would be that the fees for the minting and redeeming would cover the development costs, and then we'd make money in the long term from Fraxland. And let me just take a look at
on Fraxland.
Yeah, what the WBTC demand has been so far.
Yeah.
And so those would be the three revenue sources.
I think we can probably rally. Yeah, I think we could probably rally like former BTC maximalists. I think there's like growing contingent of people that, are very pro BTC but aren't maximalists, that kind of shied away from the BTC mainstream community because of their dogmatic ways. But I feel like there could be a contingent that could be excited for FrxBTC, and just getting, for them to rally around it. I think it would be like a lot of good press just because it's BTC. And, who knows, maybe there is, a contingent that would be excited about it. I think there's like some people, and if anything, there'll be traders looking to take advantage of this ARB. But I guess like the problem with taking advantage of this ARB would be like from chain to chain, it's like a day bridge, but they wouldn't take advantage of it from like chain to chain. They would just take advantage of it between like WBTC or like maybe other BTC derivatives that exist. Or if you just want like simple exposure to BTC on ETH and you don't feel like, holding your own Bitcoin keys and dealing with that. So
yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad that Bitcoin doesn't have any revenues, and that it doesn't allow for like the liquidity hacking that we use in Curve, right? Because the FrxETH design is so cool, how like we're pairing the liquidity providers up against those who want to stake, right? And it's your choice, like where you want to make yield during that time. And unfortunately, there's not that with Bitcoin. We can't just create like a LP pool or a staking pool for Bitcoin somehow, right? I don't know how to do that. So yeah, it's a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I mean, we could see in the future, maybe there's some more additions or somebody that wants to integrate it in parts of DeFi, but I think right now it would just be used inside the Frax ecosystem. Yeah,
I think it's worthy to explore, and I think it will be done eventually. It's just a matter of priorities and, what Sam's thinking of, like, okay, like what are like the top priorities for 2023? Is it, like a revenue generation via organic yield? Is it Fed master account? Is it something else? Like we'll be hearing all that soon. So looking forward to it.
Do you have any whispers of what's on the product roadmap for next year?
Oh, you mean from the meetup we had the other day? He did ask me my opinion about FrxBTC. So it's something they are strongly considering, and they're taking the FrxBTC proposal very seriously, and like seeing what the community is saying. Other than that, I'm looking forward to, the Fed master account plans and seeing like how that could be done. It's something very unique that Frax is pursuing. It's their sniper shot at the most risk-free yield in the world from the Federal Reserve itself. So, excited to see what's going on there. Other than that, I think like I'd like to see, how Frax is going to scale up its like existing primitives. There's FrxETH, which is like the shining star in my opinion right now. There's also FraxLand, which is doing numbers. I would like to see, kind of what's going to happen with FraxSwap and, FraxSwap and FPI. FraxSwap, it seems like its biggest use has been FXS buybacks, being like the FXS only exchange. But, it'd be cool to get like other tokens in the ecosystem or like other, because it's meant to be like a DCA machine for large treasuries and DAOs. So if we can get like more DAOs that want to trade in size on there, like that, those should be our like target market for FraxSwap. And then FPI, curious to see like what other yield opportunities exist. Right now, it's just like the one curve pool with FPI in it. And it's like, they have a $2.8 million surplus there, which is cool. But, what's the plan for like expanding? Like, I'm curious to, is there going to be like a roadmap for every specific product? Is there going to be a roadmap? Like, what are their priorities? It's going to be interesting to see, but I think we should just like double down on our winners, which is definitely like FrxETH.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'd like to see the FrxETH model like applied to pretty much every other proof of stake chain where you like stake assets, right? Because like, why can't we do the same model on Polygon or Phantom or Avalanche, where there's nodes and staking, right? And then and then you can create.
It's like a matter of how profitable it is.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, that's always the question. And it really comes down to
support it. I think eigenlayer is
yeah. Build on ETH first, and then expand outwards from there, right?
Yeah, I think eigenlayer is the answer. I think
We're gonna have to have him on for a podcast.
Yeah. It's like once you wrap your head around it, it's just like, like I said, outsourcing trust, like restake. It's basically like, it's pretty simple. It's like you add a few more conditions to your staking, and those few more conditions are for securing middleware and other chains. So it's like for Oracle, it's like add a few more conditions, boom, you secure an Oracle network with ETH nodes that are already staked. It's like, if it's like another like, app chain and you want the security of Ethereum, add a few more conditions, boom, you're securing the app chain and you earn organic revenue that way. So it's just like, it seems like such an easy add-on, and like the rewards are just so high, and we're already set up there. Like, I think if we make this, if we're going to be like the top eigenlayer node provider, because they basically have like a marketplace of like all this different middleware, of all these different app chains and blockchain projects and whatnot. And if like Frax can be like the top, node provider for eigenlayer, that's a huge other source of revenue. So it makes sense from just a common sense numbers and dev work perspective. I would be curious to see how, dev heavy like the onboarding is and where eigenlayer is in their product development. But, I'm pretty convinced. It got me off my ass to write a proposal. So that should say something. Yeah. Any final thoughts though? On FrxBTC or anything else?
I'm just sad. I missed you guys out in LA yesterday. So
I know it was a great event. It really was. We had me and Voltron literally got 50 people to come out to a DeFi event in the bear market in LA, where no one comes out to events in like literal winter. And it was a great event. Like, people came out. It was a high signal crowd, as always these events are with Frax. People are there. Just, it was great having Sam and like Justin and Nader there, like the three people on the Frax team. And this is like their first public event since ETH Denver last year. I know they're going to be at ETH Denver this year. So if you missed it in LA, we're going to plan something for Denver. So definitely keep your eye, Flywheel, keep out your eye on our Twitter for that. And if you want to keep up with everything Flywheel, don't forget to hit that bell button. Let us know what you think of this new kind of breaking news segment we have in the comments on YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at Flywheel Pod. You can join the discussion on Telegram at Flywheel Pod. And you can follow me on Twitter at DeFi Dave 22.
And I'm at traders_insight.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.